Hello everyone, and welcome to our notes for our future forgetful selves. Today we're looking at graphing linear patterns. The goal is for you to be able to say, I can represent patterns with graphs and relate what I see in the graph to the pattern. Let's get to our first slide, which says, each term value in a pattern has a term position. And you can organize this information in a t-chart, also called a table of values. And it might look something like this. So on the left here we have our pattern, and on the right here we have our t-chart. We just need to put values in each of these empty spaces. So let's have a look. Here's our first term right here, and it has a value of 2. Our second term, if we counted all these squares, would have a value of 7. Our third term would have a value of 12. We're increasing by 5 each time. And then we'd have 17. So in the first position, the first term has a value of 2. The second term here has a value of 7. The third term has a value of 12. And the fourth term has a value of 17. And there we go, we've got our t-chart. Let's move on and look at how we can write the term positions and term values as an ordered pair. So here we have our t-chart, and each of those t-charts can be written as an ordered pair. So for instance, the first one would be written as 1, 2. Okay, this one here, that's our term position. And all of these, if you put them into an ordered pair, would go on the left side. Then you'd have your term value here. This one here is our term value. And you could do that for any of these. You could write another one, let's say 3 and 12. That would be another ordered pair. And 3 would be the term position in that spot, and 12 would be the term value. Let's look at the next slide, which goes from the t-chart all the way to graphing this. So a pattern that grows or shrinks by the same amount each time looks like a line when you graph it, and it's called a linear pattern. So for example, here we have our t-chart again, and we're going to put this into a graph. The first thing I want to do when I'm graphing is to take a close look at how much room I have, and then look at my t-chart to make sure that I use up all of the available space on here, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. The first step, I'm going to color code these. I wouldn't recommend that you color code them, but it might make it more clear in how to set this up. So these here on the left, the term positions, those are going to go on our x-axis. And the term values, those are going to go on the y-axis. Here I can see the term positions, those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are going to go along the bottom. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, and oh, I don't quite have enough room. It would space them out nicer if I could go all the way along the bottom, but I don't have enough, so I'll just go along here. So the first thing, I put my x-axis down. I would use a ruler if I were you, and then I'm going to label them 1 to 5. Then I look at my term values. The term values go from 2 to 22. Now I don't have 22 lines all the way up and down this graph. So I'm going to have to figure out how many I can do. Like, do I need to go up by 10s? Well, that would be 10, 20. That would be too small. What if I went up by 2s? Let's go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Oh, look at that. That's perfect. So let's go up by 2s. Now that I have my x-axis and my y-axis labeled, and I've got all the values along the side and along the bottom, now I'm going to look at my ordered pairs. So my first ordered pair would be 1, 2, and that would look something like this. First I look over at the bottom, I go over 1, and then it's going to go up 2 because this is where I need it. I need it at the intersection of 1 and 2. That's right here. So I'll put my dot right there, and I will label that ordered pair. I'll say this is at 1, comma, 2. That's the x and the y coordinates. Next, I look at my next spot where I'm going to put it. At 2, I have a value of 7. So I look over, here is my 2 in blue, and I go up to 7. Now 6 is here, 8 is here, 7 has to be right there. So I will put my next spot right there and label it. This is at 2, 7. Next I'm looking over here at 3 and 12. So I move over to 3 and I go up to 12, and there it is right there. 3, comma, 12. That's my ordered pair. Then I look at 4, 17. So I go over to 4 and I go all the way up to 17, which will be there. 4, 17. And I label it. And finally at 5 and 22. Right there. 5, comma, 22. Now, if we've placed our ordered pairs correctly, we should be able to draw a straight line through each of these ordered pairs. That wasn't a great straight line. I would recommend using a ruler if you're doing it yourself. But this is how you can get from concrete pattern, like in a picture form, to putting them in numbers, to putting them into a T-chart, and then finally putting them into ordered pairs and putting it into a graph like this. And not only that, you should be able to go from a graph into a T-chart and then into a pattern and even model it with Unifix cubes or something like that. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.